right, so that happened sooner than I thought. The Raptors and Ingram have agreed to a 3-year contract extension worth $120 million, which includes a player option in 2027, 2028 per Shams. I thought this was going to linger into the summer, but it is nice that the Raptors get this done. And the first thing I'll say to this is I can't believe there were a good portion of people that thought that BI wasn't going to come back to Toronto and he was going to leave this team high and dry. And I repeatedly said it. The Raptors would not have given up a first round pick and made that trade if they did not have the utmost confidence that BI was going to be back. And the fact that the Raptors lock up BI now versus waiting is great. We get this out of the way. We know what the figure is. And to be honest, when you look at what BI is making, it comes in just under his max, which would have been $144 million. And I think this is not a bad deal. Like, I know a lot of people have already come out saying it is, but I think this is a very fair deal if BI stays healthy, of course. And honestly, if Brandon Ingram can get better, again, this is a guy who's just entering his prime now at 27 years old. This could end up looking like a bargain. So the biggest thing about this deal is, of course, the tax. It is going to be tough for the Raptors to stay under that tax. And what is going to help it is the structure of Brandon Ingram's 3-year, $120 million extension, which Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype outlined that it will be $38.1 million in 2025-2026, $40 million in 2026-2027, and $41.9 million player option in 2027-2028. There's no trade kicker. So by structuring it like this, it could potentially give this team some flexibility in the summer. Of course, the biggest thing is what they land. Obviously, if they land, let's just say the number 10 pick, it's going to be a lot more cheap than if they luck out and get the number 1 pick, for example. But there is still a world where they could add a rookie contract to this core and still avoid the tax. But it's going to be very, very tight. Again, a lot is going to be dependent on where this team lands in the draft. And if you're a Raptors fan, you want to see the Raptors pick in the upper echelon of the draft. Right now, the Raptors are in the bottom 5 as they continue to try to position themselves the best they can for the upcoming draft. So you knew Ingram was going to get paid. And obviously the Raptors had a plan in place by making the trade. They knew Ingram was going to come back. They knew they were going to get something done. I find it interesting that it happens now. But going back to Bobby Webster's presser, he did seem, based on what he was saying, it did seem like something was close. And it seemed like he was on the same page as Brandon Ingram and his representatives. So we do know the number, we do know the figure, and, you know, you look at this Raptors team, yeah, all of a sudden it is an expensive core. This is obviously a big gamble from Masai Ujiri. Like, his thinking has to be that he believes this team can take a significant step forward next season, and this team is going to be a good basketball team, like a borderline playoff team. And I know a lot of people are starting to think that this team could get into that equation, but Masai's basically betting on that. With him, you know, having all of this money dedicated to this core, you know, all of a sudden this was a team that was rebuilding, but their payroll, it ran up quickly. And now you look at their projected starting 5, it is combined to earn 83% of the luxury tax in 2025-2026, as now Chris Boucher is their top remaining free agent, and I don't expect Chris to be back, especially given how the Raptors are handcuffed with, you know, these players under contract. But now you're going to have Scotty making $38 million, Brandon Ingram's right there, quickly at 32, RJ 27, Pirtle 19.5. You're going to have the upcoming 2025 pick, which in this example, and shout out to Yossi Gozlan, who outlined it pretty well here. It's $7 million, but again, if the Raptors go higher than that and they, let's just say, win the draft lottery, you're looking closer to, I believe, $10 million is what Blake Murphy had reported previously. Baji at 6, Grady, Walter, and then, of course, you know, these rookies and their contracts help with, like, Battle, Mobile, and Shed coming in at just under $2 million. So it's going to be extraordinarily interesting around the margins to see how this comes together. But basically, like, this is a big bet. This is a big bet by Masai Ujiri and company that this team can all of a sudden take a drastic leap forward and they can become a part of that playoff equation next season to justify, giving the starting five all that money. And, that remains to be the question, right? Like, this is far from being answered until we actually see this group play together and see what they can do. I think the offense is going to get better. There's still a lot of questions about defense and how that's going to come together, especially when you roll out a five of Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, and Pirtle. Will the bench be strong enough? Basically, you're looking at a bench of, Shed, Dick, Abaji, Walter, and Mobo. Are they able to get another backup big, or are they kind of relying in-house now with Orlando Robinson? You obviously got Chomchi, but I still think he's ways away. So when you look at this team, for the most part, like, this is going to be the Raptors team going into next season with that pick. Like, they've done most of their legwork now, and this is going to be the unit that Masai Ujiri is banking on, again, to see significant progress for next season. Now, there is an interesting wrinkle of all of this, and I've spoke to it in large on live streams, on my personal channel, is the potential of an RJ Barrett trade. Because in theory, when you're working this close and things are super, super tight, what would make things more comfortable is if you move off from one of those larger contracts. And RJ, there's been a lot of questions about his fit with Scotty and BI. That could be on the table, but maybe that's something that's not imminent, and the Raptors want to see how this group first looks together before they make another drastic change. But I would bet on RJ being the odd man out if Masai is looking to be a lot more flexible. But if you roll it out like this, yeah, it's going to be very, very tight, and you're not working with a ton, as the number suggests. So we'll see maybe if an RJ Barrett trade is in the cards down the line. But for right now, this is the group the Raptors are rolling out with, and this team has made their vision clear. They went out after BI. They wanted a significant piece with Scotty Barnes, a very prominent offensive scoring talent, a playmaker, a guy who could get his own shot. They envision that working. Now all eyes are on the upcoming draft. Bobby Webster saying that this team is going to be positioning themselves for the upcoming draft. So that's basically the plan for the remainder of this season. With Ingram gone for at least another month, it looks like the Raptors are in full-on tank mode, try to get a high pick. And then, yeah, this is the group that this team is going into next season with hopes of this team, taking that next big leap in the East and really asserting themselves amongst some of the other teams in the playoff picture. So we'll see what happens, but this is the group, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you see coming next for this team. And how do you feel about this Brandon Ingram contract extension? Do you think it was an overpay? Do you think it's fair? Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That's it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.